So I just want to put a trigger warning for this video. I am going to be talking about numbers, binging, purging. I'm going to be using terms like anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, talking about triggers, talking about things that people with diabulimia do in aspects of not how to hide it, but things that you can look for just in case. So I just want to put a trigger warning for anybody that is struggling with an eating disorder. Even if it's not diabulimia, I will be using a lot of triggering terms. If you want to skip to the very end of the video, I do have a lot of good resources that if you are wanting to reach out for help, I strongly recommend that you go ahead and take at least a look at that and see if there's something on there that works for you. Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about something that I actually just ran across while I was watching just documentaries about multiple mental health issues and stuff like that, and I ran across a documentary on Amazon Prime. I will tag it down at the bottom. So it's called Diabulimia. That is actually the medical or the media coined term. Some medical professors call it ED, and T1, or also eating disorder, diabetes mellitus type 1. It's an eating disorder in diabetics, typically type 1 diabetics, where they purposely restrict their insulin to lose weight. It's not included in the DSM-5, which, for those of you who don't know, that stands for the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So the actual codes for recognized actual diagnosable mental disorders. From all the research and everything I've done, it seems that it mostly affects women. Females of all ages are 2 times as likely to get an eating disorder when they have type 1 diabetes. And then 30% of teens hold back on insulin to lose weight. So women with type 1 diabetes are 2 times as likely to get an eating disorder. And then teens with diabetes type 1 are 30% more likely to hold back on their insulin to lose weight. And then here's just a little bit of background for type 1 diabetes for those of you who don't really know or understand, or just want a little bit more of a I guess simplified version from what I've read. So with type 1 diabetes, your body doesn't make insulin. It can't. So because of this, they can't use sugar in their body to produce energy, and so when that happens, their blood sugar spikes, and then all of the excess sugars in their blood get released into their urine. And then without insulin, the body will create ketones for energy, and then this can lead to anorexia, so complete loss of wanting to eat, and then obviously because of that, weight loss. And then because of the ketones that a person can develop when they are restricting insulin, and they don't have, the correct sugar breakdowns, they can develop something that's called ketoacidosis, which is very serious, and it can result in coma or death. So I do have all my notes here. I'm sure you guys have noticed this. There are so many complications with diabulimia. A lot of it comes from diabetes itself, not taking care of it correctly and not regulating it. And then also the complications of eating disorders, you know, not getting the nutrients and everything. And then also combined problems. So here is literally the list of all the complications, all those bullet points, and I'll go through some of them. So this is just a mix of diabetes and eating disorder complications. High blood sugar, sugar in urine, confusion, dehydration, muscle loss, like I said, diabetic ketoacidosis, high cholesterol, bacterial skin infections, some things that you wouldn't even think about, yeast infections, skipped or abnormal periods. This is a huge thing in eating disorders. A lot of women, when they have eating disorders, their periods become very irregular or they completely stop. Staph infections is another big one. Damage to the blood vessels in your eyes. So you can actually go blind from this and from eating disorders. I read up a little bit of it about what happens. I do want to do a little bit more research on it, but I do know that the blood vessels in your eyes start to burst, and then you start to get little black spots everywhere, and eventually you can go completely blind. Numbness from nerve damage. So peripheral arterial disease, which is some form of heart disease. Thicker arterial walls. So, you know, the walls of your heart can become, and your vessels and your veins can become thicker. And then liver disease. And then there's low sodium and potassium, which a lot of people, you know, they start getting cramps really bad and muscle spasms. And then the last three are stroke, coma, or death. So eating disorders actually have the highest rate of death of all mental disorders. Women who withhold their insulin in order to lose weight do pass away on an average of 10 years earlier than those without an eating disorder. And then here are the signs of diabulimia. A lot of them match other eating disorders, you know, so obviously counting calories, watching or not eating, hiding food, isolation, you know, weight loss, depression, sleeping all the time from lack of energy, from no food, no nutrition. I'm sorry guys, I'm not promoting Red Bull, but I am going to drink my Red Bull because, well, I'm thirsty. Okay. Some unique signs of diabulimia are blood sugar records that don't match their A1C readings. So obviously if you have T1D, you normally have some sort of record book where you write down your A1Cs. Sometimes you might want to start checking your loved one's blood sugars when they're checking them, you know, just checking to see if what comes up on the machine is what they're writing down. Secrecy about blood sugar and insulin. I know a lot of what I read was a lot of people don't want to talk about their diabetes at all. They don't want to talk about their blood sugar numbers. They don't even want to talk about what they need to do to take care of them. They won't take their insulin in front of anybody. They'll just say they're really secretive about it, when really they're not taking it at all. Eating more often, especially sugary foods. So, yeah, because, you know, can't break down the sugars, not taking their insulin, weight loss. Sweet smelling breath. This one actually kind of surprised me. This is actually kind of why I made the unique signs section here. So sweet smelling breath is actually a sign of ketoacidosis. So that, the thing I was talking about earlier, that when your body produces too much ketones, it actually will go into diabetic ketoacidosis, and that can really, really, really be dangerous and lead to coma or death. So this one kind of was like a duh thing for me, but at the same time I was like, oh, well, maybe it's not for a lot of people. So people with diabetes are at a high risk for eating disorders because their life kind of is revolving around restrictions and numbers and blood sugars and labels and everything else. So a lot of what they have to look out for is what a lot of people with eating disorders obsess and compulse about. And then it could result, like it may begin with somebody that already had body issues or wanted to lose weight, and they had diabetes type 1. And so they found an easy way to lose weight. Another one is diabetes burnout. With fibro that I have and everything else, I totally understand diabetes burnout. It's a lot of work to keep it up and to make sure that you're doing what you need to keep yourself healthy. And a lot of people just stop. A lot of people don't want to put in the time, they don't want to put in the effort. And I understand it's a lot of work and it's a lot of obsessing over things that a lot of people don't have to and they don't understand. So yeah, a lot of it sometimes just results in diabetes burnout and they don't want to take their insulin anymore. So because diabulimia is a media coined term and it doesn't actually have a diagnostic code, a diagnosis will depend on eating disorder behaviors. I am just going to read this strictly off of here because it is a DSM-5. So it says, DSM-5 classifies insulin omission as purging. Therefore, it can be coded as bulimia nervosa if overeating and restricting insulin, or eating normally and restricting insulin. So, the insulin is what you would, if you're still eating normally, or if you're overeating but you're still restricting insulin, that would still be what is considered the purging of your eating disorder. So it's whether you're binging or eating normally, if you're not taking your insulin, you are purging. And then it can be diagnosed as anorexia nervosa if you're restricting both your food and your insulin. So, yeah, I know this one was a little shorter. I just kind of want to I'm going to put a trigger warning in my description. I do thank you guys for coming to my channel. This is my Nala, for those of you who aren't family or friends watching. This is Nala. She's my baby girl. I am going to put at the end of this a lot of resources for anybody that may be struggling with this or has a loved one that's struggling with this. I have all sorts of phone numbers, websites, text supports, chat supports that I am going to list at the end of this video. And not only for diabulimia, it's not just diabulimia supports, it's any eating disorder support. So if you or a loved one is struggling with an eating disorder, I strongly recommend that you wait to the end of the video and just take a look at some of the resources that I have found for y'all. But yeah, I thank you guys for coming and watching, and I will see you guys